Aaron Ryan here, prolific author of The End and Dissonant Sagas and many more. If you're new to authoring or want to learn more about the industry, keep watching. And I've been an author for a really long time. I remember writing stories when I was a kid, and my first real memory is of a story called The Electric Boy that was issued as an assignment in second grade from Mrs. Walker. Hi, Mrs. Walker. It was something that just, turned into construction paper surround and college rule paper, double spaced, crude stick figure drawings, things like that. And it was basically just an elementary assignment, something that we were all assigned. I wasn't unique in any capacity there, but I think the story was. Though it was my first attempt, I felt good about it. However, it was probably a real blatant ripoff of the novelization of E.T. by Alan Dean Foster. Because that's what I was reading at the time. I remember because some of the things that happened and some of the actual verbiage that he used in the book, I was so inspired by as a kid that I blatantly ripped it off. And I didn't know, what the term copyright and the term infringement put together meant. I still don't. No, I'm kidding. But it was, in some senses copyright infringement, but it was also in a more innocent sense inspired by. And so I used, some various narratives and quotations and things like that and kind of put my own spin on them, of course. But that was my first story that I ever wrote as a child. I was also in my elementary school, I was part of young authors organizations. And I had forgotten all about that. I actually have old news articles. I don't know where they are anymore, but I need to dig them up. But I have old news articles that you can see a picture of me hunched over something, writing something at a table with a group of a whole bunch of elementary schoolers, and we're all working on our young authoring pursuits. I had forgotten all about it again, so I looked back and saw that and went, oh my gosh, there's nothing that speaks probably more to fate than that. I have deviated in my careers over the years to lots of different creative pursuits. Voiceovers is one that I currently do in tandem with authoring, but voiceovers, dance, you wouldn't know it from this gigantic hulking form, acting, singing, performing, and poetry and other forms of the arts. But all of them tell a story. All of them are about being a storyteller. And especially with my parallel tracks right now as an author and a voiceover artist, those are parallel storytelling tracks. And obviously I prefer one more than the other, and that's telling my stories, these ones back here. But I've always been a storyteller in every independent, creative, freelancing pursuit that I've had. It's all been about telling stories. And it's something that I just inherently love to do. It's deeply, fundamentally satisfying. So deep down at the core of this guy, there's a storyteller at heart. And it started a long time ago. And I've just repeatedly answered that call, and so glad that I did. I love writing great stories that have heart at the center. They're cinematically grounded. They're inspired. They're thematically deep and rich. And they have to involve a human core struggle at the center. Otherwise, it's a fairly hollow story to me. But that's why I write. That's how I started. That's my author journey. One of the things that's really critical as an author and as a creative, any kind of creative pursuit that you do, is you have to be willing to overcome rejection and deal with self-doubt and things like that. As an author, I'm offering all kinds of stories that I've poured my heart and my soul and my mind into for a fairly long period of time. I've become deeply invested in the story, in the characters, in the whole gamut of it. And to see someone rip it to shreds in a review, oftentimes in a review that isn't really pertinent to the story. So either there's typos and they couldn't, they're hung up on that. Just a tip that you have to get a good editor. There's typos that they couldn't see past. And so thus they've missed the entire richness of the story. They chose to have kind of tunnel vision and blinders on and focus only on that. Or they've missed the tone of the story and they focused only on specific events that they thought maybe wouldn't happen. Or they just want to pick apart the story for some reason. You cannot please everyone. That's something I learned a long time ago, nor should you try. It's irritating, yes, to receive a review that is less than stellar, that seems on a surface level that they've missed the whole purpose and tone and heart of the book. But you just have to move on. Ultimately, let the chips fall where they may. Realize that this is not the end of the world. There's always a kernel of value that you can take from any negative event. And there's an author that said, I believe that everything that happens in life is a resource. I love that phrase because even a negative review is a resource for you to draw upon, to learn from, to grow from. And so you can take those things that bring self-doubt, you can take those measures of rejection and grow from them. I remember the story of the Lucky Bill. It was a plane that flew in World War II, I believe, and it just got riddled with bullets. It was trying to drop a bomb or something. It got riddled with bullets, and by no means should it have remained flying. But it did. And the analysis at the end was that there was more structural integrity in the plane than there were bullets to bring it down. I love that phrase. I love that assessment. There was more structural integrity than bullets to bring it down. And that's what you have to develop as an author and as a creative, is structural integrity. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride, that old song by Matthew something or other in the 80s. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna hold me down. I've got to keep on moving. Such a great song. So you've got to find that fortitude. You've got to find that inner voice that tells you, don't worry, you can't please everyone, don't even try to, and just move forward in structural integrity. Self-publishing versus traditional publishing. So this is one of the biggest choices that an author can make when they first start out, and it's a dilemma that can be fairly paralyzing because, you got this great book, you've got this wonderful story that you've written, and you want to share it with so many people, but what is the right way to go about doing that? So yes, you can go through querytracker.com and you can set up an account and you can pitch to agents and publishers all the live long day. You have to, going back to something I said earlier, you really have to develop thick skin and structural integrity because you're going to get so many no's. It's going to be so many no's. And you just have to be prepared to deal with that. They're very selective. And if your book doesn't appear saleable to them, meaning they don't think they can, make a profit off this because that's what we're all in for, then it'll be rejected. And you just have to be prepared to deal with that and know that going in. Are there bragging rights when you get your book published by a trad pub, a traditional publisher? Sure. Very cool to say, hey, HarperCollins picked me up, or whoever picked you up. It's very cool to say that, and it is bragging rights. But it's not the end-all be-all. What you lose with traditional publishing is a lot. Now, I am self-published by choice. I'm an indie author by choice, and several of those reasons involve control, creative control. I own all the rights to my books. I maintain all creative control over my books. I can command higher royalties. I can choose my own editing team, my own marketing team. I can choose my own branding. I can get the books quicker to market. That's one of the biggest things that's most important to me, is that traditional publishers take a very long time to get your book to market. Well, I'm a giver. My love language is giving. And when I write a book, man, I want to get it out there ASAP. I want to get it to my readers. It's a gift from me to them. And it's one of those things where I just itch sitting here waiting for my book to be published. And if I was with a traditional publisher and they're saying, it's March and we should have your book on the shelves in Barnes & Noble by February of next year, I'd be like, what? I mean, that would drive me crazy. So much quicker time to market as an indie publisher, as a self-published author. And there's a whole host of other reasons that are just advantages in being a self-published author that you really have to weigh and consider. Google it. There's plenty of articles of why people choose either or. But for me, there are so many more advantages. And Written Word Media just released a survey for 2025 on the state of the authoring industry. And the percentages were way up there for those people who are, by choice, a self-published author. We are gaining ground. We are chipping away at that margin and slowly going to outpace those people who are traditional published authors, if we haven't already. Indie publishing, there's something very cool and special and sacred about it. It's mine. No one can take it away from me. A publisher could drop you. Can you drop yourself? Not really. As an indie publisher, this is all mine and nobody can take it away from me. There's a high premium that I place on that. So choose wisely, but if you can, choose self-publishing. As an author, my writing process and my daily routine are fairly similar from day to day. I'm also a voiceover artist. You can see my studio back there. In both careers, I'm kind of a doctor with a pager. So, a call's going to come in and someone's going to require me for something. And so I have to answer that call. Auditions come in all day long and I have to jump up out of my chair and go into that studio, record the audition, come back, deliver it, done. Rinse and repeat. I get a job, get out of the chair, go into the studio, record the job, finish, edit, send, rinse and repeat. Authoring is the same. So kind of as you're pulled in a million different directions each day, you're going to to be pulled into for me, the voiceover direction. I'm going to be pulled into the editing direction. I'm going to be pulled into the writing direction. I'm going to be pulled into the marketing direction. So there's all kinds of these pagers going off all day long that call to me and dictate where I'm going to be going next. You have to answer that call for writing intentionally. And I think it was Stephen King that said he likes to write, 10,000 words a day. I believe it was something like that. My goal is 5 pages a day. So the word count can vary. Really, it depends on the font size and your spacing and all that stuff. But I like to write at least 5 pages a day. There are some days when I've written 25 pages. You just kind of get on a streak, and what you're writing is so compelling at the moment that you're so immersed in it. And you just, like the shirt says, I write, stuff happens. And sometimes just, goes like gangbusters. Some days it's harder. I'm embroiled in writer's block and I can't write. I just don't know where to go with this story, or I'm not really into it as much. And maybe I've got this other idea that's been pulling at me, gnawing at me, and I want to put this on hold and go there. And I've done that. But the daily routine can really vary, and you have to follow these breadcrumbs to where they lead. Finish that process. Your day is, at least my day is, a whole bunch of endearing rabbit trails and following them to their ultimate conclusion. But with writing, it requires an intentionality, because that art of creation, when there's so many other things to do that vie for your attention, you really have to be intentional about carving out a specific amount of time every day to fulfill that requirement to write. As an author, if you don't write, you're not authoring, you're not being you. So be intentional about that. As an author, one of the things I really have to do is be intentional about marketing. And so I love wearing shirts that really declare to the world that I'm an author. For example, this one, I write, stuff happens. I have funnier shirts, I have more serious shirts, but they're all about authoring. I want to be out there in the grocery store and have people go, oh, are you an author? And be able to talk to them and answer that question and say, yes, I am. And what have you written? Well, I'd love to tell you. And then you walk them through your library. But there's other things that you want to leave with authors, or leave with readers rather, that will give them something to fall back on when your conversation is over and you've moved on. And those are things like stuff that I've had developed here. I've had glossies made that I can actually pull out and sign for my readers at vendor markets. So these are very handy. I can sign and say thanks for reading. Gives them my contact information and website. Flyers on my books. These are very important to hand out. These list all my major sagas and the awards that I've won, where they can find me, a QR code, my main books. All of these flyers are so important to hand out at vendor markets and craft fairs and just out and about. Is share these with people. And they grab these, they do snag these and take them with them so that they can find info about you later. Who was that author I met at that vendor market? Well, here's this flyer. One other thing I do is in each of my books that readers buy at vendor markets is I insert a flyer. And this flyer says, first and foremost, thank you to my readers. It advertises my Facebook group that they can join, and they can find out about news on my screenplays, giveaways, discount codes, upcoming appearances, blah, blah, blah. I have much more engagement in my Facebook group than I do with my Facebook page. So this goes in every book. There's Did You Knows on the other side, which is essentially how I come up with character names, how long it took me to write the Dissonance saga, for example. What's next? My logo, kind of translucent in the background there. Whole bunch of little random facts about my life as an author. And then, there's a picture and a thank you. And one of the most important things is a petition that they leave a review of the book online. And you remind them they don't have to have purchased it from Amazon in order to leave a review. It's so important to get those reviews. And I urge every buyer, please leave me a review when you're done on Amazon. It's so important. Another thing that I hand out and give free in each book purchase is a bookmark. So I've had these custom bookmarks produced, and it's got, logos and insignias on the right there from each of my major books. So there's the black hole from the slide. There's a Gorgon from the Dissonance series, my logo in the middle, Phoenix at the bottom from the Phoenix Experiment, a bowing person in the middle from the End saga, and one of the talismans from the Talisman series. My picture, I have updated versions that have my QR code. I missed that on this version, but these go in every book. So it's a custom bookmark. Who wrote this? Oh yeah, it's this guy. Kind of a running track record of all these books that I've done. And there's more than this, but bookmarks are invaluable as well, because if they don't have your bookmark, they're going to get somebody else's. I also have business business cards, and people do pick these up. They do snag them and take them. Business cards have my contact info and awards won and, where to find me, all the different websites, and an email address. I invite readers to email me. I tell them kind of half jokingly, you can email me and say, why'd you kill off so-and-so? I can take it. It's okay. And they have a nice little laugh. They love that. Here's the flip side, just a picture of a whole bunch of the books that I've written so they can see that. So business cards, very handy to have, and they are snagged like hotcakes at vendor markets. And even if you're out doing grocery shopping and someone wants to know where they can find you, or you're going through a drive-thru or something and they see the vinyl decals that you have on your car advertising that you're an author, you want to have something to leave with people. So whether it's a business card or a bookmark or a flyer or something else, make sure you have something that you can give them and leave with them. One of the biggest mistakes that you have to avoid as an author is going way too fast. Again, I love to get books in my readers' hands. I love to put a book out there and just release it into the world because it's like, hey, I can't wait to see how this performs. I can't wait to bless people with this story that has so blessed me. And yet I have to go slowly. I advise if you are, finished writing, don't schedule your book publishing for, at least a month and a half out, especially if you're recording an audiobook, because, if it's with your editor, or maybe even 2 months out, if it's with your editor, they're going to need time to edit. If you're recording your audiobook, you're going to catch a whole slew of errors that you did not catch in your final writing or final read through. And you have to be diligent to get all those errors out of your final manuscript. ARC readers, you want to give them as clean a copy as you can that doesn't have errors there either. So, don't go too fast. Don't just slap a cover together and just, it's good enough. We've got to get this to market. Take your time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Slow bake everything. It's a crock pot, not a microwave. Slow bake everything. Give it the care and the love that it deserves. A baby is in a womb for 9 months for a reason. It takes a long time to perfect that little offering to the world. Your book is no different. It is your baby that you're putting out there, and you want to treat it delicately, carefully, methodically, precisely, intelligently. So really slow down. That's the best advice I could give as far as mistakes to avoid. Don't go too fast. And the second mistake that I would encourage people to avoid and just be vigilant and diligent on is the authoring industry is rife with scammers. They'll come at you with multiple attempts, all laden with flattery. What they like to do is they like to promise you reviews. And for whatever reason, they send emails that always promise 46 reviews. I don't know where they got this count from, but whatever. They assert that they can get you so many reviews and put you in front of so many readers, and they can get you so many sales. And it's always a quantity-based promise that they assert they can get for you. And it's never the case. It's never what they'll end up doing. These scammers prey on your hopes and dreams, and they want you to cough up the dough so that they can refer you to their expert marketing person. Sometimes they'll come to you under the guise of a fellow author, and they're not. I've gotten emails from Suzanne Collins before, the author of Hunger Games. I've gotten emails from Michelle Obama, and it's just, I know who you are not, and you're clearly not them. Why would they be emailing me? So little old me. You have to be really wary. Any email that comes to you dripping with flattery, laden with platitudes, and overly saturated with praise of your book is probably an AI summary of your book. They're getting wiser, the scammers, and they're using AI. And it is an attempt to get you to lower your guard, to trust them. I mean, gosh, someone loved my book. Oh, thank you so much. I'll listen to you. Don't. Make like Forrest Gump and run. These scammers know what they're doing, and also be aware that if you ever respond to them, if you ever come back to them with any kind of angry words or rejection, be prepared to receive all caps anonymous death threat emails. I'm not kidding. I made the mistake of responding early on. And the only thing that you do then is, like the Proverbs say, a harsh word stirs up anger. I got them turned into a hornet's nest, got them angry, and I got death threats. And not only that, but I respond from my email address, which is not Gmail, it's Outlook, coming from my Microsoft Outlook. I just gave them my IP address and my location. Don't ever give them anything. Don't ever respond to a scammer. Don't. If the email came to you and it's laden with flattery and praise, it is most likely a scammer. Delete, block, and move on. That's a mistake I wish I'd avoided early on. One of the ways you build a sustainable author career is you think for the long term. And obviously that's kind of a given. But one of the things that we don't do that kind of hinders that process or shortchanges us along that journey is we get so sidetracked and so waylaid by negative reviews or less than stellar reviews, a 3 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5. How come it wasn't 5 out of 5, whatever? And we allow these things to waylay us. We allow those closest to us to tell us, what are you doing? You're wasting your time and your money. If you really want to be an author, what are you doing? This is never going to pay your mortgage. And all these negative voices can surround us, but that's not conducive to building a long-term journey. I was given a quote many years ago by a voiceover entrepreneur / former casting agent, and it rocked my world. And I, as such, had it put on a plaque because it meant the world to me. And it says, remember, someone's endorsement of you or lack thereof has very little to do with your trajectory. I'll say it again. Someone's endorsement of you or lack thereof has very little to do with your trajectory. Your trajectory as an author is forward, is long-term. It's not a sprint, as I talked about before, it's a marathon. And so you cannot allow or afford to allow any negative voices to dissuade you from your path, from your goal. Your trajectory is forward. And so a trajectory isn't a quick bloop and you're there. A trajectory is a long-term path. This is a slog. It's a marathon. It is a commitment to see those books sell and then maybe not sell and then sell a little bit more and then a little bit more and then not sell and then take some dips and keep going. And so you can be with it over the long haul till it finally does this exponential curve and goes up. That's your trajectory. That's your long haul, is being an author for the long haul, for the lengthy term of forever. And so you have to be willing and intentional about separating out the wheat from the chaff and getting rid of the noise of these naysayers who try to dissuade you from your trajectory. Building a long-term sustainable authoring career really depends on you having, again, that structural integrity, that intentionality, that long-term focus, that commitment to just keep writing, keep putting books out there. Keep on keeping on is the best advice I can give. This is a worthy fight, a worthy battle. And to look back at a track record of over 40 books now, I remember my very first one. I don't remember the details of all the books. When I reread them, I'm going, oh man, I don't even remember writing this, because I was in an F-35 screaming through the skies in that section. And I was propelled by urgency. So I don't remember that specific narrative, but I look back over 40 books and go, wow, that's a long haul. That is the long haul. And that can be your long haul too. Keep at it. There's a great Latin phrase, luctor et emergo, and it means I struggle and emerge. Adopt that phrase for yourself. This is a struggle, but eventually, maybe years from now, maybe a decade from now, you will emerge if you stick at it. Go get them. One of the best bits of advice I can give to any aspiring author is a quote by the author, Oscar Wilde, who said, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken." That is such a good quote, because we don't need 2 Stephen Kings, 2 Suzanne Collins, 2 J.R.R. Tolkiens, 2 Tom Clancy's, 2 John Grisham's, 2 Isaac Asimov's. You can be inspired by them and, the occasional tip of the hat in your writing to nod to theirs, sure. But come up with your own voice. That's what we need, is individuality, uniqueness, and someone who is not cut from the same cloth. Yes, we're all cut from the same cloth of authorship. We want to be an author, but ultimately your job is to make your mark, not someone else's. Again, make your mark firstly, and then secondly and thirdly, but establish your own voice. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. It's such a great phrase. So I hope that as you move forward in your authoring career, you always remember that, to be unique in every way. Go get them.